Picture this. You're 24 years old, right? You wake up at like 11 in the morning in your childhood bedroom. The air is stale. You can hear the neighborhood kids playing outside. And, well, you are entirely unemployed.
That is a pretty bleak picture to wake up to.
Right. And it gets worse. You reach for your phone to check your bank account because honestly, you're just craving a burrito and you need to see what you can actually swing for lunch. And the balance staring back at you on that screen is exactly $2.26.
Oh, wow. So not even enough for the side of guacamole, let alone the actual burrito.
Exactly. Nothing. And that was the crushing reality for Grant Sabatier back in 2010. But let's contrast that with his reality just 5 short years later. He wakes up, he checks his net worth, and he sees a balance of over $1.25 million.
That's a wild jump.
It's insane. In 5 years, he went from having less than $3 to his name to achieving total lifelong financial independence.
You know, going from completely broke to a self-made millionaire in half a decade, it's the kind of leap that forces you to just, well, pause and reevaluate everything society has ever taught you about money.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, most people simply do not believe that kind of timeline is mathematically possible, right? Not without, inheriting a trust fund or building the next massive tech startup.
Right, and that disbelief is completely understandable. Because traditional financial advice, it kind of conditions us to follow a very safe, very slow script.
The standard playbook.
Yeah, we're told to go to school, get a steady job, save a tiny fraction of our paycheck, maybe like 5 to 10%, put it in a retirement account, and just hope we have enough to finally stop working in 40 years.
Just crossing your fingers for 4 decades.
Pretty much. But millions of people are following that exact script right now, today, and they're still ending up broke, stressed, or just feeling totally trapped in cubicles they absolutely hate. So, why is that traditional path failing so many people?
Well, the traditional script is failing because the underlying macroeconomic math is it's fundamentally broken for the modern world.
What do you mean by that?
So that old advice, it worked brilliantly in 1975, right? Back when a typical house cost roughly twice the median annual salary, and companies actually offered guaranteed pensions to take care of you in your old age.
Right, the golden watch retirement.
Exactly. But today, housing can cost 10 times the median salary. Inflation just consistently eats away at your purchasing power, and the corporate pension is virtually extinct. You are entirely on your own.
Yeah, that safety net is just gone.
It really is. Yet people are still using a playbook written for an economy that literally no longer exists.
So the game changed, but no one updated the rules for the players.
Precisely.
Well, today we are laying out the updated rules. We're breaking down the exact step-by-step roadmap to achieve financial freedom and potentially retire in 10 years or less, even if you are starting from absolute zero today. So, welcome to Wealth Builder Books.
Really excited for this one. For today's deep dive, we are pulling from the book Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatier. And what's absolutely crucial to establish up front is that Sabatier did not win the lottery.
Right. No crypto booms, no viral apps.
Nope. He just looked at the broken math of the modern economy, and he ruthlessly optimized 3 basic levers that honestly anyone has access to. And those are income, savings, and expenses.
And that focus on the basics, I think that hits right at the heart of the frustration so many of you listening probably feel right now.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, because, you want financial freedom. You want to buy back your time, but you don't have a clear roadmap. You feel like you're starting way too late. And whenever you try to educate yourself, these money books just seem completely overwhelmed by complex jargon.
Like they're designed to confuse you.
Yeah, exactly. Designed to make you feel like you need to hire some expensive advisor just to understand your own money.
Which brings us to the driving question that we're going to answer in this deep dive. How do you calculate exactly how much money you need to never work again? And more importantly, how do you fast track getting there?
That is the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally. And to answer that, we have to completely dismantle how we view the timeline of retirement. And here is where I want to make a pretty bold claim.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, people assume you need more time to save more money, but here's what most people miss. The younger you are, the less money you actually need to retire.
Wait, I have to stop you there and just push back on that because logically, that sounds entirely backwards.
It does sound counterintuitive, I know.
Because if I retire at 30, I have to fund 50 or maybe 60 years of living expenses, right? But if I retire at 65, I only need to fund maybe 20 years. Shouldn't a 30-year-old need a significantly larger pile of cash than a 65-year-old?
You would think so, yeah.
And actually, Grant initially thought the exact same thing when he started this journey. He went online, he used one of those traditional retirement calculators, punched in his desired living expenses, and the calculator spit out a staggering, terrifying number.
Let me guess, it was in the millions.
Yeah, $3.5 million. He was completely crushed. So how do you reconcile a $3.5 million target with the idea that retiring young actually requires less money?
Okay, so here is the flaw with those traditional calculators. They're built on the assumption that once you stop working, your pile of money it just sits in a static vault somewhere, and you slowly chip away at it until you die.
Like a giant piggy bank.
Exactly. And if you are chipping away at a static pile for 60 years, then yes, obviously you need a massive mountain of cash. But Sabatier discovered a framework called the 25X rule.
The 25X rule.
Right. Which is derived from a really famous piece of economic research known as the Trinity study. And this study fundamentally shifts the math from slowly depleting a static pile of cash to living off an infinitely regenerating system.
Okay, let's break down the mechanics of that 25X rule, because calculating your number is the cornerstone of this entire strategy.
It's step one.
Right. So first, you have to figure out your annual living expenses. Let's say you look at your life and you determine you need $50,000 a year to live comfortably. You take that $50,000 and you just multiply it by 25.
Simple math.
Super simple. And the result is $1.25 million. That $1.25 million is your number.
And here is the mechanism behind why that specific number matters. The researchers in that Trinity study we mentioned, they looked at decades of historical stock market data. I mean, through the Great Depression, the massive inflation of the 1970s, the tech crashes of the 90s.
All the worst-case scenarios.
Exactly. And they tested different withdrawal rates against that history. They found that if you have your money invested in the broad stock market, you can safely withdraw 4% of your total portfolio every single year to live on.
4%.
Right. And statistically, you will almost never run out of money no matter how long you live.
It's kind of like planting an apple orchard.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, because traditional retirement advice tells you that you have to hoard enough apples in a giant temperature-controlled warehouse to eat one every single day for the rest of your life.
Which takes decades to gather.
Decades. But the 25X rule and that 4% withdrawal rate, they say something entirely different. You just need to plant enough trees so that the new apples growing every spring cover your daily diet.
Right, you just eat the new growth.
Exactly, you eat the new growth, but you never have to chop down the tree itself.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. And the trees, in this scenario, they need to be broad, low-cost index funds.
Let's define that really quick for people who might be new to this.
Sure, so just to ensure we're speaking plain English here, an index fund is basically a single investment vehicle that buys you tiny fractional slices of hundreds or thousands of the top companies in the world, like, you know, the entire US stock market all at once.
So you're not trying to pick the next Apple or Amazon.
Right, you just own everything. And because the overall economy historically grows at an average of about 7% per year, and that's even after accounting for inflation, your money replaces what you take out.
Because you're only taking out 4%.
Exactly. You withdraw your 4%, the market grows the remaining 96% by about 7%, and the cycle just continues.
But wait, this brings us back to my earlier challenge about age. Because if a 30-year-old and a 65-year-old both need $50,000 a year, their 25X number is exactly the same, right? It's $1.25 million for both of them.
Correct.
So how does the 30-year-old actually need less money over time?
It all comes down to the sheer runway of compounding interest.
The compound.
Yes. And compounding is simply when the money your investments earn starts earning its own money.
Like a snowball rolling down a hill.
Exactly. So when you retire at 30 with your 25X number, you're only skimming off that 4%. The bulk of your capital stays in the market. That money has 50 years to compound on its own.
I see.
So the longer your time horizon, the more the heavy lifting is done by the market rather than your own physical labor.
But, you know, if you take this 25X rule to a standard financial advisor today, they're probably going to laugh you out of the room.
Oh, they definitely will.
They'll insist you just need to put 10% of your paycheck into a 401k, which again is just a standard employer-sponsored retirement account with some tax benefits.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you to just close your eyes until you're 65. But Grant's math completely breaks that traditional model.
It breaks it intentionally because, saving 10% of your income guarantees only one thing, that you will be forced to perform wage labor for 40 years.
It's mathematically baked in.
It is a mathematical certainty. To fast-track financial freedom, Sabatier argues you have to abandon that 10% rule completely. You have to drastically increase your savings rate to 25%, 40%, or even like 80% of your income.
80%.
Yeah, which sounds crazy. But when you save at that velocity, every single dollar you invest today is literally buying future hours of freedom. You are, in essence, purchasing your own time back from the future.
That's incredibly powerful. And, if this first insight was helpful, you can dive deeper by grabbing the book through the link in our description. You're listening to Wealth Builder Books, and here's where it gets really interesting.
Let's get into it.
Because knowing your exact 25x number is a great psychological victory. But a calculator is just a calculator. When Grant Sabatier was staring at that $1.25 million target, he still only had $2.26 in his checking account.
A very long way to go.
Yeah, a massive gap. And you certainly cannot cross $1 million chasm by just skipping your morning latte or clipping 50-cent grocery coupon.
You absolutely cannot budget your way to wealth. That is the harsh reality of a savings lever. There is a hard mathematical limit to how much you can cut your expenses. Like, you still need to eat and you still need a place to sleep.
Right, you can't save more than you earn.
Exactly. But there is absolutely no ceiling on how much you can earn. Which brings us to the second major insight of the deep dive. The enterprise mindset.
I really want to dig into the mechanics of this enterprise mindset, because going from a standard $50,000 salary to making over $300,000 in a single year, was what he did, it sounds like internet marketing hype.
It really does sound like a scam at first.
Right. So how did Grant actually execute that kind of scale? He didn't just work 6 times as many hours at his day job.
No, you physically cannot scale your hourly labor that way. Sabatier realized he needed to fundamentally decouple his time from his income. So he used his standard 9-to-5 job not as a final destination, but as a paid training ground.
A paid training ground. I love that.
Yeah. He adopted an aggressive learning posture. While sitting at his desk, he taught himself high-income, highly marketable digital skills using completely free resources on YouTube.
Like what kind of skills?
Oh, he learned how to build WordPress websites from scratch, and he learned the intricate mechanics of running Google advertising campaigns.
And the brilliant part is, he didn't just hand those new skills over to his boss for like a meager 3% annual raise.
Oh, definitely not.
He recognized the concept of value stacking. He knew that a law firm didn't care how many hours he worked. They just cared about how many new clients a Google ad campaign could bring them.
It's all about the results.
Exactly. So he took those skills and he started pitching local businesses directly. He built a website for local dentists, he ran ads for a law firm, and suddenly he was stacking these lucrative side hustles right on top of his day job. He was charging for the value of the result, not the time it took him to click the buttons.
And that is the core of the enterprise mindset. You treat yourself as a business entity that is constantly acquiring new, high-leverage skills to increase your market value.
Now, I'm tracking with the income generation, but we really have to address the massive friction points that derail almost everyone who tries this.
Right, expenses.
Yeah, because making an extra $50,000 in side hustle money is fantastic. But if you're a beginner, housing and transportation are going to devour that extra cash instantly. Rent, mortgages, car payments, they're absolute wealth destroyers.
The biggest hurdles, by far.
So how does Sabatier navigate the physical reality of the cost of living?
Sabatier attacks those two massive expenses through two very specific, highly aggressive strategies: house hacking and geographic arbitrage.
Okay, let's look at house hacking first.
Right, so this is where you purchase a property, say a 3-bedroom house or a duplex, and you live in the smallest, least desirable bedroom, and you rent out the other rooms or units.
So you become a live-in landlord, essentially.
Exactly. And the rental income from your tenants completely covers your monthly mortgage payment. Suddenly, your single biggest living expense drops to absolute zero.
But we need to be honest about the emotional reality of house hacking here. It is not just some cute real estate buzzword. You are actively choosing to share your kitchen with strangers. You're cleaning up after tenants. It is a massive lifestyle sacrifice.
It is not glamorous at all.
No. And Sabatier is incredibly transparent about this in the book. During his intense accumulation phase, he lived in an apartment so cheap, so run down, and so utterly depressing that his own girlfriend outright refused to visit him there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was willing to endure extreme short-term discomfort just to protect his capital.
And for those who really don't want to become landlords, Sabatier points to geographic arbitrage.
Which is fascinating. Explain that one.
This means leveraging the global economy by earning your money in a strong, highly valued currency like US dollars, but physically living in a location where the cost of living is dramatically lower.
Right, and he highlights the story of his friends Christy and Bryce as the perfect example of this.
Yes.
They reached their baseline financial independence and immediately just removed themselves from the crushing expenses of the U.S. economy. They live out of suitcases, traveling through countries like Thailand or Portugal.
Or things are so much cheaper.
Exactly. Their U.S. dollars stretch infinitely further, meaning the amount of money they actually need to withdraw every year just plummets.
Which perfectly transitions into the most powerful mathematical concept in this entire deep dive. You asked earlier how a side hustle actually lowers the $1 million target, right?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that math.
Well, this is where the math of the gap changes everything.
Okay, walk me through the mechanics of this gap, because this is where the light bulb really turns on for a lot of people.
All right, let's go back to our baseline example. You determined you need $50,000 a year to live. Multiplied by 25, your target number is $1.25 million.
Right, got it.
But let's apply the enterprise mindset. Let's say you build a side hustle, maybe managing a few ad campaigns or generating rental income from a house hack, and that hustle reliably produces $25,000 a year in steady income.
Okay, so half of my living expenses are now covered by this active or semi-passive cash flow.
Precisely. Which means you no longer need your investment portfolio to generate $50,000.
Because I'm already making 25.
Exactly. You only need your investments to fund the remaining gap. You only need your portfolio to generate $25,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So if you take that new smaller gap of $25,000 and multiply that by the 25x rule, your new target retirement number is suddenly slashed to just $625,000.
That is wild.
Right. By simply keeping a manageable side hustle alive, you literally cut the financial finish line in half. You shave a decade or more off your required working years.
You know, when you draw the thread between these two core insights, a radically different worldview emerges. The 25x rule, it strips away the anxiety of the unknown, right? It gives you a highly specific mathematical destination.
Clear finish line.
Yeah. But the enterprise mindset, the aggressive skill acquisition, the side hustles, the house hacking, that is the actual vehicle that drives you to that destination in 5 years instead of 40.
And what this ultimately demands is a complete reframing of how we view employment. I mean, a full-time job is not a lifelong prison sentence. It is not a place you go to slowly drain your life force for 4 decades just to survive.
Not at all. A job is a temporary tool. You use it to acquire marketable skills, to build a professional network, and to hoard the initial capital you need to fund your escape.
Yes.
You are intentionally, strategically trading your time for money right now so that your money can buy back your time forever.
But, you know, we really have to acknowledge the honest, difficult counterpoint to all of this.
Let's hear it.
Sabatier does not sugarcoat the harsh reality of this path. Escaping a 40-year working sentence in 5 to 10 years requires immense hustle, exhausting labor, and massive personal sacrifice. I mean, he lived on the absolute edge, pushing his physical and mental limits to work insane hours.
It's a grind.
It's a huge grind. Furthermore, you're relying heavily on the stock market, which, as we know, does not go up in a smooth, straight line. There are severe, terrifying dips. Succeeding on this path requires the brutal emotional discipline to not panic sell your index funds when your net worth suddenly drops by 20% in a single bad month.
Yeah, that friction is very real. This formula is mathematically simple, but it is deeply psychologically difficult.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No. However, I want to reframe those sacrifices with what I believe is the most empowering takeaway from this entire book. The ultimate goal of building wealth is not to accumulate a massive pile of cash just so you can look at a high score on a banking app. The ultimate goal is time. Think about the fundamental nature of the universe. Time is inherently limited. You only get a set number of days on this earth. But money is infinite.
There's always more of it out there.
Exactly. It can be printed by central banks, it can be earned, it can be multiplied through compounding. So do not trade your limited, precious, irreplaceable time for an infinite resource for 1 second longer than you absolutely have to. Make your money buy your time.
I love that.
Instead of thinking you need to work for 40 years to save this massive unknown amount of money, think of it this way. You only need 25 times your current expenses, and every single side income stream you build drastically lowers that finish line.
It brings the goal so much closer.
So here's one thing you can do right now, today. Log into your bank account, figure out your exact monthly expenses, multiply that by 12, and then multiply the result by 25. That is your baseline financial independence number.
That's your escape velocity.
Exactly. Once you have that number, ask yourself, what if you used geographic arbitrage or house hacking to cut your living expenses in half? How much sooner could you buy back your freedom?
If today's deep dive gave you something real, subscribe to Wealth Builder Books. We break down one powerful book every week. And drop a comment which of these two insights hit harder for you, the 5X rule or the side hustle math. We read every single one. This has been Wealth Builder Books. We'll see you in the next one.